Okay, right. So we're going to start lying on our backs, actually. I know I just said get a cushion, but we're going to start lying on our backs. So just move the cushion out to the side. Come and lie flat on your back. I'm going to move my camera up a little bit because when I stand up, it's too low at the moment. Screw my tripod. There we go. That's about right. There. Okay. So we want to release and relax around the front of the hips. So let your feet go a little bit wider and let your knees knock in towards one another. Bring your hands to rest on your belly and just see if you can get yourself to feel nice and comfortable here in this place. So just take a moment to wriggle, to fidget. If you're comfortable, to close the eyes. And I just want you to bring your attention into the back of the body and all of the points of contact with the floor. So just feeling into the soles of the feet, the back of the pelvis, back of the shoulders and arms, back of the head. And see if you can settle down a little bit more into the floor, into your mat. See if you can soften the face and relax the jaw. Bring your awareness into your breath and see if you can notice the breath moving down into the belly and movement of the belly under the hands. So as you inhale, just notice the belly expanding, lifting a little, moving up into the hands. And as you exhale, notice the belly falling, settling back down. So can you soften here in the belly, the lower belly, mid belly? Allow that breath to flow down like it's filling up your pelvis. And then as you exhale, allow the breath to flow out. So deep belly breathing. Sorry about that creaky floor. My husband's walking about upstairs. Ignore that. Nice long, deep inhale. And slow, steady exhale, rising and falling. So when we breathe properly, we should be having some movement here in the belly. We should have the abdominal organs softening, relaxing down and moving out. So we need to find softness in the muscles here so we can allow that breath, that expansion. Okay, we're going to bring our feet hip distance wide, so the knees come hip distance wide. Let our hands come down onto the mats by our side. Keep with awareness of that breath. As you inhale, feel the belly rise. See the breath moving into the belly. Allow it to rise a little higher as well, up into the ribs. And as you exhale, we're going to let the belly fall and press the lower back, the lumbar spine down into the mat. So we get a little pelvic tilt. So our pubic bone is going to coil back in towards us a little bit. And as you inhale, just let everything soften. Let the belly rise and feel that little lift under your lumbar spine, that little gentle arch away from the floor as you inhale. And as you exhale, the lower spine presses into the mat. It's gentle. We're not looking to come up into bridge. We're just moving the pelvis and exaggerating the movement of the belly. Inhaling, little arch of the spine as the belly lifts, and then exhaling, lower back pressing down, little pelvic tilt. Do a couple more, lovely, slow, mindful breaths. See if you can keep the hips relaxed, the legs quite relaxed, and you can take this a little bit deeper into the movement of the spine if you're comfortable with it. So you can have a little bit more of an arch as you inhale. Tilt the pelvis away. And then really nice, gentle scooping under of the pelvis as you exhale, and the lumbar spine presses down. Let that come back to center. We're going to bring our knees in towards the chest, one hand on top of each knee. If you're in your 2-week weight, knees a little wider than your belly, so more out towards your shoulders rather than straight into the belly. Just gently draw them in. Keep some length in the back of the neck. Deep breaths. Then we're going to rock the legs a little bit away, so hands on top of the knees, and then back in towards us. So inhale away, back in towards as we exhale. Inhale away, back in as we exhale. So we're just moving through that lower back, getting a little bit of movement in the belly, keeping that breath really focused. And come back to neutral. We're going to circle the knees out wide. So take them out wide, circle them away from you, bring them back together and gently bring them in a little bit. So keeping it nice and easy in the belly if you are on your 2-week weight. Otherwise, you can bring the knees in a bit closer. Just listen to your body and lovely smooth circles, like we're moving the bones of the legs around in their hip sockets. Doesn't matter which way you're going. You can always go. We're going to go the opposite way in a minute. So just circling. Feel like those hips are lovely and soft and smooth and juicy. It's like you're stirring treacle around in your hips. Keep your breath moving. We're going to go the other way with the legs, so circling the knees in and away and then out and back in. That works, or the other way, whatever way you had it, go the other way. Lovely, smooth, juicy hips. And then bring those legs back in. So we're going to come up to sitting. If you are in your 2-week weight, roll over to one side and push yourself up. Otherwise, you can hold the back of the legs and just rock and roll to come up if that's comfortable for you. And we're going to come into a comfortable cross-leg position. You may want a cushion or a block underneath your sitting bones just to feel a little bit more like you can sit up tall. Have a comfortable cross of the legs. I'm not a massive fan of forcing the knees really wide, but if you're comfortable in Sukhasana, you can. I'm just going to keep my ankles crossed so that feels more comfortable for my body. And rest the hands on the legs. Just take a moment to settle here. Close the eyes if that's comfortable, or gaze softly to one point. And see if you can reconnect with the breath here. So maybe let's actually bring our hands onto our body. So one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. And see if you can find that lovely belly breathing here in a seated position. So as you inhale, let the lower belly soften, the belly expand, let the breath rise from the bottom to the top, rising up to the ribs, a little bit into the chest. Keep those shoulders soft. As you exhale, let everything soften and move back in towards your center. See if you can soften and relax the pelvic floor while you're breathing as well. So sometimes we hold quite a lot of tension in our pelvic floor. Just relax those muscles a bit, just let them be soft. And consciously relax the jaw. Really noticing the connection between your sitting bones and the ground. The legs and the earth beneath you, your base and the support underneath you. Now we're going to let those hands come back down to our legs. And very gently we're going to start to rock across our sitting bones. So just allow your pelvis to scoop under like we did before and rock towards the back of your sitting bones as you let the spine round a little bit down. And we're going to rock forwards on the sitting bones. So we're tilting the pelvis forwards, allowing the chest to lift and maybe the gaze or the head to lift up a little bit. So coming into that slight spinal extension. So we're going to exhale as we round. And I really want you to think about this from the sitting bones. So you're rocking across your sitting bones rather than worrying about moving the upper body too much. So your sitting bones rolling as you roll to the back edge of your sitting bones and then rolling forward, so you're rolling to the front. So connect with the sitting bones how they're moving on the mat or the cushions. See if you can just roll across them nice and gently. In our 2-week wait, we're not going to draw the belly in really tightly as we exhale and curve the spine, but you can, if you are in your follicular phase, draw the navel more to the spine as you round. You're getting a little bit more engagement of the muscles of the core. And coming back up to sit tall in the center of your sitting bones. And we're going to take this into a circle. So move your weight over to one side and feel like you're shifting your weight onto that sitting bone. Allow your body to circle forwards and see if you can roll your attention around to the front of the pelvis. Let it come to one side, and then as you come back, that little scooping under of the pelvis, so you're coming onto your tailbone a little bit. So we've got these 4 bones at the base of our pelvis, the tailbones, the sitting bones, and the pubic bone at the front. See if we can roll around those like we're giving the pelvic floor a lovely massage. Don't worry too much about moving the rest of your body. It will go with you. I'm really connecting to a sense of fluidity and ease here, and back off a bit, you know, just be in your body if you can. And then we're going to take that the other way. So find a little pause and reverse the circles. Just letting everything be nice and soft, giving yourself a chance to wake up because it's morning. We haven't done much yet, so we just take it lovely and easy. Lovely breaths. Slowly bringing that back into the center, finding a little lengthened spine, finding a moment of stillness. Lovely deep breath. Okay, we're going to swing our legs around to the left, and you may be all right up on a cushion. You may want to come off it, so see how you feel. Coming into this mermaid position. So the front leg's coming directly across, and the foot's connecting with the top, the thigh of the left leg, and then that lower leg is just kind of going straight back behind you. You're going to bring the left hand onto the left hip bone, so right to this side of the pelvis. The right hand's just comfortably down by the side. What we're going to do is just gently start to rock forwards and backwards a little bit. So we're rocking forwards, and it's like we're rolling this left side of the pelvis over the right side of the pelvis, just gently, and then we're allowing it to rock back. Which is really lovely, easy rocking movements. Keep everything really soft, and everyone's hips are different. So if this feels a bit uncomfortable, go really gentle. I like to inhale forwards and exhale back. Feels good for me. As long as you're breathing with your movement, there is no right and wrong. So just find a breath that works for you. Okay, we're going to bring our weight into this right hand. Take the left hand, sweep it around, and see if we can lift the pelvis up off the floor and come into just a gentle opening of the front body. So just reach up and back and feel that breath in the front body. Keep the back elbow a little bit soft. Press the ground away. And then come all the way back down. Sit back down. Good, we'll do that one more time. So circle that arm around. Press up, open like you're doing a great big yawn up to the sky. And then sit all the way back down. Good. Lean back on your hands to bring the legs around to the other side. So our left hand is down, our right hand is on the right side of our pelvis. And we're just gently finding that rolling and rocking here as we inhale and exhale. So this is really nice because it moves the pelvis around on the legs, and we know that we just discussed where the arteries flow down into the legs. We really want to encourage the blood to be flowing easily and freely into our uterus. So this is a lovely way of just thinking about moving in and out as we constrict and we open in the hips. It's giving that massage to the arteries as well as the muscles. It's lovely to think of it like that. Sometimes we just think about the muscles and what the muscles are doing. Okay, placing that left hand down, we're going to sweep the right arm around and up and just have a lovely stretch opening into the front body here. Really breathe into it and then settle back down again. On an exhale, let's circle that right hand one more time. Up we come, opening the heart, lifting the gaze, and then all the way back down. Lovely, well done. We're going to come onto all fours now. So lean back to release the feet. Come over onto one side and come around onto hands and knees. So we want our hips under, our knees underneath our hips and our hands or wrists underneath the shoulders. Spread the fingers nice and wide and press down through the fingertips so that your weight isn't all in your wrists. That's it, good. Take a nice big breath in here. And as you exhale, round into cat. So just finding that lovely arch spine, chin to chest. 2 week weight people, just keep the belly a little bit soft. So don't hug the navel to the spine really tightly. Keep it a little bit soft. As you inhale, come back through center. Let the chest lift, let the tailbone and the sitting bones lift a bit as well. So getting a bit of an extension in the spine. Rounding with your exhale into cat. Inhaling into cow. Now think about the pelvis moving as you scoop the pelvis under, the tailbone tucking underneath. Let those sitting bones and the tailbone lift up and open as you inhale. I'm going to add a little bit of movement here. So rounding into cat. Settle back towards the heels, keeping the pelvis scooped under. And then keeping that shape, inhale forwards and come into cow. So our exhale rounds, scooch back to the heels, rise on an inhale, lift the heart, lift the tail, rounding, exhale, coming all the way back. Inhale, opening. Let's do one more and we'll settle back into child's pose for a few breaths at the end of this one. So let's take the knees wider and just come down with the chest in the center. If you can reach the floor, bring your head to the floor. If you find it easier to have a pillow for your head, you can bring one hand on top of the other or bring one of your props if you've got anything, a block or a cushion in to rest the head. Just breathe nice and deeply here and feel the exhale softening you, settling you down. If you can breathe into the belly, breathe into the pelvis, breathe into the hips. And 2 more breaths. We're slowly going to rise up, so walk the hands in, come all the way back up onto all fours. Okay, I'm going to take one leg back behind us. Let's start with our right leg. So extend it back behind you along the floor. Press the heel away, just feel a little stretch there in the calf muscle for a moment. Think about keeping your back fairly still. So what we don't want in this is any movement in the spine. We want to keep the back nice and stable. And then lift that right leg up to hip height. So it's just going back straight behind us. You can flex the foot, push the heel away. We're going to inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to bring that knee back in. If you're in your 2 week weight, it's just going to stop there at the floor. If you are not, you can bring the knee in closer and round into cat. Think about forehead to knee. Inhale away. And then 2 week weight just to the floor. Everybody else curling in and out. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Try and keep everything really still. And then exhale that knee in. Okay, we're going to step that right foot to the top of the mat. So you probably need to lean over to your left a bit, step the right foot forwards and help it out so you come into a lunge. Nice and long in the lunge. I quite like to come onto my fingertips because I find it easier. You can have flat hands if that works for your body. You could also have yoga blocks under your hands if you've got any. And then we're going to lift the chest and look forwards and start a little bit of movement here, forwards and backwards. So rock the hips back and start to straighten that front leg. You can start to flex the foot as well and lift the toes, but keep this knee a little bit soft and then move back into the lunge. So just gently in and out. Listen to your body. We're not looking for a deep stretch sensation. We're just looking for mobilizing around the hips, the hamstrings, maybe the calf muscles as well. I like to inhale forwards and exhale backwards. Try that, see how it feels. Okay, come back into the lunge. We're going to think about the inner thighs squeezing in towards one another. Push the ground away and see if you can rise all the way up. Bring the hands overhead. Now bring your weight back over your back knee. Circle the hands all the way down to your hips. And I want you to think about scooping the tailbone under again. So like we've been focusing on the pelvis, scooping under. That will stretch a little bit more into the front of the left thigh and then come deeper into the lunge if that's comfortable, keeping that feeling of drawing the tailbone under. So we're looking for more of a stretch. If I face the camera, we're looking for more of a stretch in this front hip flexor, this back leg front hip flexor. So by scooping under and coming forwards, we're getting a bit more of a stretch there. Bring your, I don't know what foot I'm on now. I think it's your right hand to your right hip. Take your left arm up and come into a gentle side bend over. And just keep your gaze soft. And you probably feel a deep stretch in this front leg. So there's a psoas muscle here, which is quite a deep muscle and involved in hip flexion. It's often quite tight. Come all the way back up, hands to the floor, and step back to all fours. Place your hands down. In between sides, we'll just do a little bit of a circling of the pelvis. So like we did seated, we're going to let the tailbone rise up towards the ceiling, then send the hips over to one side, then scoop them under like you're doing the cat bit of cat-cow, let it go to the other side and then up and over. So just gentle, small circles. You're circling your pelvis. It's like you're drawing a circle with a pencil that's attached to your tailbone on the wall behind you. See if you can close your eyes and just move in a way that feels good for you. And then take that the other way around. Just gentle movements, nice and fluid. Come back to the center. All right, you're going to take that left leg straight back behind, just tuck the toes under and push the heel away for a moment, have a stretch there. Lift that leg up to hip height, inhale. Exhale, knee back into the floor or closer to you, round the spine, push the ground away. Inhale away. Exhale, knee back in, round the spine, if in the first half of your cycle. Inhale away. Exhale to round. Inhale away. We're going to step that foot to the front of the mat. So bring it in, step it forwards, help it out, come into your lunge. Go onto your fingertips, drop the hips, lift the heart. Inhale. Exhale, shift the hips back, start to straighten the front leg. See how that feels. We're not looking for deep stretch. We're not looking for end range movement, but just moving and listening to our bodies. Moving in and out, dynamically stretching into the hips. With the breath, take your time. Okay, let's come forward into our lunge. Think about drawing inner thighs towards one another, pushing the ground away as we rise up. Circle those hands to the hips, bring the weight over the back knee, draw the tailbone down towards the earth. Inhale. Exhale, lunge a little deeper. Keep the left hand on the left hip, right arm reaches up and over to the side. Now breathe into that. And I like to keep my gaze quite steady, kind of central, but you can look up If you feel like you want to be more invigorated and energized, looking up is going to do it. Makes it a little bit harder. And then reaching all the way open, bring that hand back down to the floor and step that left foot back. Bring your hands back flat under your shoulders. Now come up into a little downward dog. So tuck your toes underneath you. Inhale. And on an exhale, press the sitting bones back, lift the knees off the mat and gently come up into a down dog. Nice spread fingers, nice bendy knees. Press the hips up and back. And if it feels good for you, just take a few breaths to walk out the legs, one side to the next. If down dog feels a little intense for you, just come back into child's pose for a couple of breaths. And some days you'll really want it and some days you won't. So just listen to your body. Okay, we're going to walk our feet forwards to our hands. Just take some time to walk the feet forwards. Bend the knees. We want the feet about hip distance wide. And just hang over your legs for a bit. Give the head a little shake. Let the shoulders hang, let the head go. Let the jaw release. If you like a little sway here, just moving gently from one side to the other, you can hold the elbows. Good, we're going to rise up to standing. So bend those knees a bit more, curling up through the spine, just let the arms hang heavy. Take your time to come all the way up. Lovely, well done. We're just going to stay here in Tadasana for a moment. Bring the hands back to the body. So one hand to the heart space, one hand to the belly. Eyes closed or gaze nice and soft. So just take a moment, come back to your breath. You feel the breath as you inhale, moving into the belly. And then rising up through the body, rising into the ribs. Maybe a little bit into the chest with those lovely soft shoulders. And as you exhale, feel everything moving back out, drawing back into center. Notice the feet. Notice how grounded you can be through your feet. Feel all of the surface of the feet spreading into the earth, into the mat beneath you, plugging into the ground. The energy of the earth. Okay, we're going to take 2 rounds of Surya Namaskar C, which is my favorite one because it involves a lunge, which is really good for movement around the hips. Take it nice and slow. And this is kind of like, we're waking up now, we're coming more into our day. So a little bit more energizing, but just listen to your body. Palms touch at heart center. As you inhale, we're going to circle the arms overhead, reach up. As you exhale, bend the knees, fold over the legs. Halfway lift as you inhale. So hands slide up the legs, lift the chest and find a flat back if you can. And then as you exhale, we're going to step the right leg back into a lunge. Back knee down to the mat. Rising up as you did before on an inhale. And exhale, hands back down to the earth. Tuck the back toes. And either step back to downward facing dog or all fours. So if you're feeling a little bit tired or you're looking after yourself, maybe all fours is fine for today. Otherwise, you can step back into dog. Just take a breath. And coming forwards into plank, and we're all going to come into kneeling plank. So just come into a plank position, lower the knees. Press the ground away, lift the chest a little, inhale. And exhale, going to control the movement down to the mat, really nice and steady. Slide the hands a little bit forwards and a little bit wider. Inhale, press into the ground, lift the chest and open the heart. So just a gentle cobra. And then roll down as you exhale. Slide the hands back, tuck your toes. Inhale to push the ground away, lift back, either into child's pose or downward dog for 3 breaths. And I think just listen to your body. You know, if you feel tired, take child's pose. If you feel overwhelmed, take child's pose. If downward dog doesn't work for you, it hurts your wrists, take child's pose. Listen to your body. Here, we're going to step the right foot forwards now between the hands. So wherever you are, you can do this from all fours or from downward dog. Step that right foot to the top of the mat. Left knee comes to the earth. Press into the floor, rise up, inhale. Exhale, hands down. Tuck the back toes and step the back foot forward. So you need to push off the back foot, come to the top of your mat. Good. Inhale halfway. Exhale, melt down. Rising up, push the ground away. Inhale. Exhale, hands to heart center. Lovely. Let's do the other side. So a little bend as you press the ground away. Inhale, rise. Exhale, melt down over your legs. Halfway lift, inhale. And step the left leg back as we exhale. Nice long lunge, back knee down. Rising inhale, squeeze those inner thighs towards one another. Push the ground away. Exhale, hands down. Step back to child's pose or downward dog or all fours. And have a breath. Coming forwards into kneeling plank. Nice long spine, push the ground away. Bend the elbows as you exhale, come down. Slide the hands out wider, a little further forward. Press the ground away, shoulders soft, rise up, gentle cobra. And all the way back down. Hands in, tuck the toes. Inhale, push up. And exhale, downward dog or all fours or child pose. For 3 breaths. Nice slow breaths, mindful breaths. Good, well done. We're going to take that left leg forwards into the lunge. So either coming onto all fours or from downward dog, step it forwards, back knee down to the earth. Push the ground away, rise up, inhale. And exhale, all the way back down. Tuck the back toes, push off that back foot, step forward. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, push down and through the feet. Circle the arms all the way up. And exhale back. Hands to heart center. Lovely. Well done. Take a breath. Big breath. Slow exhale. And your next inhale will circle the arms again. Or exhale to fold all the way back down. Just hang for a breath. Hold the opposite elbows. You're going to step back into downward dog. So bring the hands to the mat. Walk the feet back. Yeah, take an inhale and an exhale. Lower the knees back down to the floor. And we're going to come into a pigeon on the right leg. So slide the right knee forwards and then turn the right leg out. So we're looking for the right knee to be quite close to the back of the right wrist. And the right foot is just going to come diagonally across the mat. And then you're going to wriggle the back leg back, slide it back, like you're pushing away from your hands. Now, I quite like to have something under my right hip. Just depends how your hips feel. So a cushion, a block would be good, just to come under that right hip. If pigeon doesn't work for you, so knees, hips, sometimes it's not great, you can do exactly the same thing, either sitting with the right ankle on top of the right knee, like this, or on your back, like this. So just modify, change where you're at, whatever feels better for you. I'm going to do mine sitting. If you're sitting, you can take the hands back behind you and lift your chest and bring your knee a little closer to feel a little bit more of a hip stretch if you want it. Just looking for gentle, mindful. Now, if you were in a pigeon and you like pigeon and it feels good, can come down to rest on your forearms. Steady breaths. Okay, we're going to slowly rise up. So if you're on your forearms, go onto your hands. Lift up a little, push the ground away, lift your hips up, tuck the toes and come back to all fours. Or you can come into a downward dog in the middle. If you're in a different position with pigeon, then let's take a time to release that and swap sides. So if we're doing a traditional pigeon, we're going to bring the left knee forwards, slide it forwards, take the left knee out to the left toes across the mat, wriggle the back leg back, maybe bring something in under that left hip if it feels good. You want to be quite central. Now I've got a bit of a dodgy knee on the left side, so I'm not going to do that because it doesn't feel that great in that knee. I'm going to do my seated pigeon on this side too. And just breathe wherever you are. I think one of the things that is really important to me is that you don't feel that there's a better pose or a worse pose to be in. You don't feel that deeper or more feeling of stretch is more advanced or better in some way, because it's not necessarily. So it's just about allowing yourself to really listen to your body and even giving yourself permission to back off just a bit. You know, just back off. Like, why? Why push yourself into a deep pose? Maybe today you don't need to, or maybe you could just see how you feel if you don't. And just stretching and breathing wherever you are. Good, well done. And then slowly we'll come out. So either walking your hands in and coming back to all fours, or just sliding the legs out. If you're on your back, which is the other alternative I gave you, just rolling onto one side and coming back up to seated. And we're going to bring the soles of our feet together and the knees wide in Baddha Konasana. So again, you can bring the heels in fairly close, or you can have them a little bit further away if that helps you to sit up straight, holding onto the shins or the ankles, whatever works for you. I'd like you to see if you can sit up tall. So if you find it hard to sit up tall, move the feet away from you until you can sit up. So we don't really want the lower spine to be rounding here. We want to be nice and long. And then gently allowing the knees to press evenly away as we lift up through the crown of the head, soften the shoulders. And this is a really good stretch for the inner thighs, for pelvic floor. See if you can breathe down into that whole pelvic bowl. See if you can draw the shoulders back a little bit and down away from the ears. Lengthen up through the crown. And we're going to let those feet move further forwards now. So we have more of a diamond shape in the legs. Instead of staying upright, we're going to round the spine, and we're just going to allow ourselves to gently fold over the legs. A different stretch, different parts of the legs, different parts of the back are going to be working here, and a different feeling, a more subtle, soft, restorative style, yin style. Okay, and then slowly walking the hands in, rolling up through the spine, and coming back into a seated position. We'll finish seated because it's morning and we've got to get on with our day. I'm not going to bring you into a massive long relaxation now. But of course, you could do Shavasana here if you wanted for a bit. I'm going to pop my cushion back under my sitting bones to make me feel comfy. Do what works for you. Now take Yoni Mudra. So the index fingers and the thumbs touch in a downward pointing triangle, and place that over the lower belly. Thumbs at about navel point, then shoulders soft. Close the eyes. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Notice the breath at the tip of the nostrils. Notice the temperature, the sensation as the breath comes in. Notice the breath flowing down the back of the throat and filling the lungs. See if you can relax the diaphragm by softening the belly and imagining the breath flowing right the way down into the space underneath your hands, into the womb space, into that downward pointing triangle that you've created with your Yoni Mudra. On the inhale, you can notice the path of the breath as it flows in through the nose, down the back of the throat, filling the lungs and also flowing right down into the pelvis, right down into the lower belly. It enables you to get a deeper breath, but also connect to that part of your body. As you inhale now, I want you to see if you can colour the breath. So just pick a colour that feels nourishing, healing. And see if you can enable your attention to be on that, like a ribbon of breath, a ribbon of air as you inhale, flowing down and filling your womb space. And really getting into all of the tissues, all of the arteries moving really freely, a feeling of circulation, of flow around the body as the breath comes in. And this is what is actually happening. So obviously, as we have a circulation of blood, it's moving the air from our breath around, the oxygen around our body to where it's needed. But you're just visualizing that by thinking about the breath as a color. And nourishing, nurturing, healthy, life-giving breath. Softening the pelvis, softening the deep belly, allowing space for the breath and the blood to flow. See if you can really focus on that. If any other thoughts come into your awareness, take a moment to notice what those thoughts were and then see if you can let them go and shift back onto your visualization here. Soften the belly, breathe down into your lower belly, into your pelvic floor. Notice movement here, flow and space. I'm going to leave you with a little affirmation. Affirmations are very personal, so if it doesn't work for you, that's absolutely fine. I just invite you to find your own words. On the exhale, repeating silently to yourself, I am healthy. I am well. I am calm and in control. I am healthy. I am well. I am calm and in control. Saying that, or if there's something else that's arising for you, feels more pertinent, more important, just saying those words, if you can, in the present tense. Just for a few rounds of breath, with as much belief and focus as you can muster. And then allow that to finish. Now bring our hands up to heart center, palms together, thumbs towards the sternum. Take a nice long deep inhale, fill up with breath. Let that go with a sigh. And we'll bow our head towards our hands. Just take a moment, honoring the practice, honoring ourselves and all of the other ladies who are joining in on this call or practicing this in their own time on catch up, just honoring them and their journey and sending them a little bit of love and understanding. Namaste. Releasing your hands, flickering the eyes open when you are ready. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. Oh, it's not on my phone. I'm going to stop it on my laptop.